Good afternoon everybody and welcome to a brand new chapter. It's the Apex Online Racing for F1 2013. It's round 9 and it's the Belgian Grand Prix. Today we're going to be going around the Spa-Francorchamps. My name's Matthew Gallagher and joining me once again in the commentary box, it's been a few weeks waiting, it's Scott Woodwiss.
Yes, thank you very much, Matthew, and what a circuit we are here for at round 9. 7 kilometres, 19 turns across 22 laps. It has some very fearsome corners, including, of course, Les Combes, Pouon, and of course the very daunting Eau Rouge corner. This is one of F1's absolute classics. Of course, it's been changed several times over the years, but it still provides an awesome challenge. We're expecting high speeds, fast corners, and some great action, hopefully, as we get into a new era with Apex Online Racing.
Exactly, a new era indeed. We've gone from the ARL, as you will have known it, to the Apex Online Racing, the AOR. So I hope you guys will stay on board for the rest of this championship because we are back. Let's take a look at the Season 6 podium with xMattyG taking the win from TRL Limitless in second and F1 X360 F1 in third. No Noble on the podium last season, with the Season 6 pole also going to xMattyG. So let's find out what happens for the Season 7 Belgian Grand Prix.
Welcome to the qualifying comparison here from Spa, this week featuring what will be the front row pairing of TRL Limitless and Noble 2909, starting the lap off with this first gear Lassour's hairpin before planting the power on the exit and using all the available curves on the run down towards Eau Rouge. Absolutely flat out 100% commitment from the drivers as they now approach the corner, going left and then uphill right and threading the car through, trying to get the straightest run to help maximise the speed along this Kemmel straight as DRS is now activated. Topping out in 7th gear just before the end of the straight and into the braking zone. There's virtually nothing to choose between them so far as they head into this very quick chicane, clipping the curves through the right and the left and then 100% throttle through the next drop before coming into the downhill hairpin. Very easy to lock the front right as you turn in over the bump with the brakes still applied, and it's Noble just snatching the brake slightly before getting it back under control for the exit, bringing the car to the right, open up the corner with no name, just the slightest of lift before chucking the car in, and now the run towards Pouon. Again, just another slight lift on entry, keeping it in 6th gear, as Noble actually runs very wide onto the curb and is very lucky not to have his lap ruined by that, but carrying on now, heading towards the Fania chicane, 2 medium speed long corners, compromise the first part to help open up the second part, planting the power nice and early, and then bring the car back over to the left to get the best line through this next right-hander towards the end of the second sector. Stavelot marks the beginning of the third sector, and there's not a lot for the drivers to really be doing at this point apart from keeping the throttle hard down and thinking about the braking zone for the bus stop chicane, as the left-hander of Blanchimont ahead is easily flat in qualifying as well as the race even with full fuel. As they thread the car through there, now coming towards picking up the 100 metre board and then down into 1st gear as they'll be getting as close as they can to these big red curves without touching them though, and then driving to the line on the exit, and it's TRL Limitless coming out on top here in Belgium by just 6/100ths of a second ahead of Noble 2909. Back to your main commentators now for the full qualifying classifications.
Thank you very much once again to Harry Jacks for that qualifying comparison. Now let's take a look at the grid and how they'll line up for this afternoon's Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. Toro Rosso and Williams once again lock out the first 2 rows with Limitless on pole, as you saw, just 59/1000ths of a second from Noble 2909. xMattyG lines up 3rd on row 2 alongside the second Toro Rosso of Minty in 4th. A great effort from Trace 92 and the Red Bull sees him line up 5th, while a new face at Ferrari takes 6th position. Ryan 83 has left the team, and in his place promoted from GP2 sees TRL Martin with a sensational debut to line up 6th. Sauber lock out row 4 with the contadins ahead of Mazy CZ in 7th and 8th. RickeeyC is down in 9th and off the pace alongside Fisi in 10th, with Jason 97 in the Force India, SE Racing team in the Caterham, and Randy McScrandy in the McLaren rounding out the 13 cars that start. 1.3 seconds separates the 13 cars that will take the grid, and all will start on the option medium compound tyre. 3 non-starters today being HyperX Callum in the Force India, Big Shot Player in the Ferrari, and TRL Macaulay in the Caterham. There's your grid. Now let's head out there for the Belgian Grand Prix of Season 7.
It's race time. It's the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. It's xMattyG and RapidScorpion commentating for you today. There is no rain in the sky for this track that is renowned for having at least a little bit of rain in the air, but there's nothing to get in the way of the drivers in terms of raindrops. But Scott, you've been out a few weeks. Who's your money on?
But it's going to be quite intriguing, of course. I think the battle will definitely again between Toro Rosso and Williams. I'm intrigued to see how the guys on row 3 get on with Trace Me and Martin. It's going to be quite a lottery with no weather. It's going to be clear, as we said, but hopefully we'll get a fantastic spectacle across 22 laps. Here we go.
Here we go indeed. We've got 4 lights. Now we have 5. The lights are out and away we go for the AOR round 9 round Spa. We're on board with Trace Me 92 in a great 5th place in qualifying. Now down to Mazy in 8th position, going towards turn 1. A very tricky hairpin. Doesn't look like there's much content wheel to wheel. Martin and Trace, and Martin has got ahead of the Red Bull of Trace. Now back down to Fisi. His teammates in 10th position at the moment, and now cutting to Matty right behind Noble and Limitless. Noble's trying to get into the slipstream of Limitless. This is where he's going to use his curves and max out as quickly as possible down the Camel straight. They're side by side. Matty's now getting the double slipstream of the 2 ahead of him. So Noble, can he get ahead of Limitless down towards this right-hander? He's broken later, and yes, he has. He's up into 1st place. Limitless having to settle back down to 2nd with Matty right behind in 3rd, and Minty up into 4th. A brilliant start from him. And who's that? That's Ricky getting an undercut and up into 8th, and almost up into 7th, hitting the Sauber of the Contadins, I believe that is. And now the 2 teammates are going side by side. Very frantic action in the first couple of corners, Scott.
Have to admit that was crucial for Noble to make that pass. He managed to make it stick just on the exit of Eau Rouge, and now, of course, he's into the lead as we are used to seeing him. But I have a feeling that Toro Rosso certainly have caught up. It was incredibly close in qualifying between Limitless and Noble, so, of course, I'm not expecting to run away just too much just yet in the first few laps. But we're on board with Trace Me, who has dropped a spot from the very impressive TRL Martin, of course. He has made a cracking getaway and definitely shown his calibre from his exploits in GP2. But as they head out towards the back of the circuit on board with Fisi Fan, now as RickeeyC gets a bit of a lag spike, and the 2 cars just rubbing side pods as they head out through Stabile and onto the back of the circuit towards the incredibly fast high-speed launch. You want to look at that on board with Matty, 200 miles an hour in 7th gear, and already he's charging up to the back of the 2 cars in front, trying to go down the outside of the Toro Rosso as Noble locks up a little bit, goes a little too deep, and they're all getting crossed up on the exit, as now the 2 Williams cars may go side by side, and Limit's getting a great view as we watch Fisi up the inside of the McLaren, small bit of interlocking of wheels, and now it looks to be the other McLaren of Randy McScraddy to his right, and a great view here from SE Racing Team as they head onto the 2nd lap, and under brakes looks like Randy has got the inside line. And will he try and get the undercut, but the Red Bull can't do it. Small bit of a twitch of oversteer on the exit, but I think looks like he managed to make it stick. But here we go. The 2 teammates going into combat already. Matty going to the outside using all of his curves, just as Noble did on Limitless at the start. And Matty just breezing past as he heads into the lead here at Spa, into Mix 2 as Noble slots into the draft. So a crucial move there for the 2 guys, but I have a feeling that if these guys continue to battle, it's only going to check up the guys behind, and that'll give them a great chance to possibly get themselves into this fight. But what's interesting is that already these 2 Williams cars, as I said, haven't driven away as quickly as we'd expect them to, so obviously it looks as though that in the time we've had away, Spa certainly seems to have levelled the playing field somewhat, and looks as though we could be in for a cracking race, especially in these first few laps.
Definitely, I mean, they haven't got away at all, and we've got Limitless in 3rd place, Minty right behind in 4th, and I'm pretty sure Martin is hanging on to this, well, you have to say queue of cars, a very quick queue, but we're now going to get a replay of the start, and this is on board with Matty going down towards turn 1, getting a reasonable start. Limitless getting quite a good start from 1st place. And coming into turn 1 now, just about, and Matty actually getting past Noble for a fraction of a second, but then Noble getting a better run off of the corner and then getting into the slipstream of Limitless in 1st place. This is where Trace lost the position to Martin. Martin going clean round the outside of him there, and going down into 6th place is Trace. So now this is Fisi just taking an outside line, just trying to avoid as much contact as, well, to avoid all contact, and that is what he does, but unfortunately didn't gain any positions at the start. And here's a replay of Trace coming under pressure and locking his front brakes and going straight across and rejoining slightly dangerously, but maintaining 6th position. And because there really wasn't anyone side by side, so he was well and truly within his right to take that position back. And this is Contadins just about Mazy just about missing out of contact with Contadins there. So Contadins definitely not taking it easy with his teammate. And this is SE in 11th place at the moment, the guy who has quite a bit of pace in a very lowly position at the moment. This is Noble locking up, well, not really, just not slowing the car down into the bus stop chicane, and Matty going round the outside of Limitless and then having a look at his teammate later on lap 2. And we have another replay down to the bus stop chicane. SE also going round the outside of one car of McLaren, but the McLaren then has a bit more space on the outside. It's Randy, and just about manages to get the spot back. So it looks like, yep, as you can see, coming towards the end of lap 2 now, sorry, we've still got 5 cars and possibly 6 even still within, well, the lead, as Noble's now going around the outside of his teammate. Because he's just had the slipstream and he's just drifted straight past him, and I think he saved some curves as well, allowed his teammate through on the Camel straight. And Matty's now going to have a look round the outside into the bus stop chicane again and maintaining first position. But whilst these two are fighting, Scott, it, as you said, I mean, it just keeps everybody else within contention.
Certainly does, and the man who's really in contention is Limitless, as he's got to run off the bus stop chicane up into last source, and he manages to get the move done. Does he? Just about. He has to give Noble a little bit of room on the exit, and without any curves at all, immediately just shows how strong that second gear is in the Williams, straight back into second place. But now as they head through Eau Rouge, of course, it will all be key on what kind of exit that Limitless is going to get off the corner. And of course, now they're all on the slipstream. Look at this, he'll get a double toe from both the Williams as Noble moves around. And now to the left-hand side of the two Williams, they're going to go side by side down towards they come. Limit was the perfect view, under brakes, and look at that, Matty trying to hold on to the place for the moment. And he has done just about. So this is a great fight between the two Williams cars, but I'm pretty sure back in the pits, Frank Williams is going to be tearing his hair out. Not that he's got much left, sorry Frank. But carrying on, we've got Limitless in third and Minty in fourth. So it's Toro Rosso Williams certainly setting the pace right now. But that, as we said, it really has brought everyone back into play, because look at this. Both Martin and Trace Me are now right onto the back of this. We've got a sensational 6-car scrap for the lead as we go back and forth with Matty running a little wide through the middle of Pouhon, but managing to keep enough of a gap to hold in front. Now we're going to look back here further down the field. This is Fisi looking to the outside of Randy, and let's see what happens here. They're going to go side by side. It's going to be a bold pass if he can pull this one off here around Blanchimont. Look at that, some 190 miles an hour. They even make a small piece of contact, but Fisi fan is just about kept enough momentum to hold the inside line, or has he? And oh, there's a huge bit of contact as well, and that's really halted Fisi's progress, and loses it on the exit. And then straight away we see SE and Jason 97 capitalise. Now here's the shot, and oh, that's not a piece of contact, because Randy does a full 360 in the middle of the bus stop chicane. Then we see that's Fisi losing it on the exit of the curb, and SE just goes straight through and says, thank you very much boys, 2 places in the space of 1 move. Incredible stuff. Now on board with Trace Me, holding on to this battle, and it's incredible just how these guys already on lap 3 are still at it hammer and tongs. A brilliant display here so far at Spa at only lap 3 of 22. And of course all these guys on the option tile will have to start stopping roughly around lap 5 or so it could even change in the next couple of laps unless we sort things out pretty quickly. And again, Noble trying as he did before round the outside. He has got the inside run down towards bus stop. Can he get it stopped in time? Up the inside, is Matty going to hold on? They do touch a little bit and moves across, and again that's all be tricky. But now looking at Limitless who's up behind, and that's Minty. Look at Minty off the exit, incredible. Comes from nowhere, now on the outside of Matty looking for the lead of the Grand Prix down towards La Source. They're 3 wide into the hairpin. Brilliant view from Noble, and Limitless comes out on top. Incredible stuff.
Absolutely fantastic driving from these guys. Minty coming out of absolutely nowhere with Noble and Matty getting crossed up on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Limitless got caught behind the 2 Williams drivers, and Minty said thank you very much, I will take this space to the left, and almost took the lead there. He's in 3rd place at the moment, Noble down to 4th, but the slipstream around Spa is absolutely so powerful as Matty's now going to look around the outside of Limitless for the lead again, and he's taken it, has he? Limitless can't get back in front, and Matty takes the lead once again round the outside, so he's loving those outside overtakes at the moment. And now Minty's looking up the inside of Limitless. There's action all the way down this queue of cars. Minty up into 2nd now. Noble now having a look at Limitless and trying to get back into that podium slot. Matty getting a slight bit of a gap now with the cars behind fighting, but really there's still a massive fight for the lead going on here. Trace just having a look in 5th place. He's not getting involved in the action just as yet. He's just watching the 4 ahead, hoping probably that they'll all crash and then he'll just go into the lead. But it's very good driving as of, well, over the last 3 laps. It's been brilliant. So as Ricky goes up the inside into the bus stop chicane, and this is a replay of Minty going through on Noble. Noble's deciding not to go side by side with him up Eau Rouge. And this is now Mazy going past Ricky, and then we've got another replay of Fisi going around the outside of Jason with the help of DRS absolutely flying past that Force India. But it's very interesting because the drivers have to work out whether they're going to defend on Kemmel Straight or well, on the straight that goes on to Blanchimont, this straight they're on right now. They have to decide whether they're going to save their curves for here, or if they don't have DRS, then they're going to have to use it on the Kemmel straight. So Noble in the slipstream of Limitless right now, going down towards the bus stop chicane now. Will Noble try an out-braking manoeuvre around the outside? It'll be very brave if he is. Matty coming under pressure for Minty as well. So these guys just cannot be separated. Limitless peels off into the pits for a very early pit stop. So has Contadins. and I'm pretty sure Martin's going into the pits as well. So there's 3 cars at least going into the pits for an early pit stop, and that could be very crucial with the use of the undercut. Matty looks like he's lost his brakes slightly into turn 1, and Minty might be getting a run on him, but this is the pit stop, and Contadins getting held up actually slightly and losing a position to Martin, it looked like, as Limitless comes out ahead of the pair of them. But these guys are going to have to set some very quick lap times to try and get ahead of the pack that are yet to pit.
It wouldn't necessarily be such a bad move, because I think, of course, now they're getting themselves out of the traffic, it's going to be quite key to try and get some clear for some lap times, as Minty has a look up the inside to try and make a move for the lead, but Matty's stuck it side by side through Lecom, and Minty keeps coming, and he comes through into the lead. Minty takes the lead for Toro Rosso. Incredible stuff. He forced the issue and managed to force Matty to back out. And now he's got a little too deep into the right hander. Matty trying to get his nose back up in there. Small bit of contact between the two of them as they bang wheels. And look at that brilliant undercut from Matty on the next left-hander. Back into the lead. Minty's not going to give up an inch, but he has to slot him back behind the Williams to hold on. And look at this. First, second, third and fourth. As close as you want it. You can almost throw a blanket over them as they filter through Pouon as one. And now back towards the flanking chicane. A bit of dust being kicked up from Noble as he catches one wheel onto the edge of the track. So as it stands right now, it's Williams, Toro Rosso, Williams, Red Bull as they head out towards Stabilo. Right-hander second gear. Look at that, and Trace will have to shift down to first because he just understeered, being caught in the dirty air from the cars in front of him. And now back on board with Noble. Minty swarming all over the back of his teammate, as now we see Minty trying to go to the outside, just as Noble's done a couple of times before. But there's no room, he's not far enough alongside to try and pull that move off. It would have been bold if he tried. And now back towards the bus stop again. And who's going to be last of the late breakers? Matty's just holding on a little too deep, but he peels off into the pits. And that could be quite key, because of course he knows these guys are possibly going to go a couple of laps longer. So he's going to try and get out of the traffic and get out of the mess, and try and get some clear air in front of him and get away from this battle, which is still raging, as Noble now makes the move on Minty and gets the job done just about as the Williams boys go to work. And now of course he's going onto the the hard compound, I should say, prime time. So of course he'll be able to try and run a few laps. This could be crucial. Is he going to get out in front of Limitless? We'll have to wait and see, and the answer to that is no. The Toro Rosso, with that clear air, has made some substantial time gains. I'm able to get in front by a few seconds at least.
Sorry, Scott, Martin and Contadins have both jumped Matty as well.
They've both passed him. Both passed, indeed they have. So incredible stuff in the pit stops. But now the question is going to be, how quickly can Matty get back up through the field? Battling now with Contadins as he jumps forward. He's got a bit of a lag spike going on. So that's going to be quite crucial. Matty's going to have to be very careful around the sail, because of course if he gets caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time, as he locks up trying to avoid any possible contact, that could end in disaster. So Matty's going to have to play his cards right very carefully here.
Yeah, it's very tricky. And I mean, the undercut is absolutely outrageous around this track by the looks of things, because Limitless has got at least 5 seconds as Randy runs wide, and that's SE looking up the inside. But Limitless has pulled out, a 3-4 second lead at least, it looks like, on Matty. And considering he was behind Matty before they pitted, it's just crazy to think that the time that they've gained on the fresh rubber, as Randy banging wheels with SE slightly there and managing to stay ahead just about fairly, I'd say. We're now on board with Fisi, who had that contact with Randy, and I just have to comment on that. I think that Randy was not within his rights to really turn into Fisi, because that was the contact that was made, because Randy tried to hang it around the outside when there really was no gap, and Fisi had pretty much made the move. So unfortunate for Fisi to get caught up in that, because then he lost his back end out of the bus stop chicane and lost another spot. And this is Minty diving into the pits, and Noble and Trace still carrying on for another lap. So this must mean they're going for a different strategy here this afternoon. And Matty now trying to get past Contadins again up the inside, going into the bus stop chicane, makes the move stick and gets past the Sauber driver. But Matty's just losing time hand over fist at the moment, being held up behind Contadins. It was very crucial indeed for him to be suffering that lag spike as well going down the Kemmel straight, because he would have made that move stick with the DRS, but caught a slight bit of a lag spike and then locked his brakes because Contadins was slightly lagging and sitting on the apex. So Matty not having a great start to his second stint, and this is Ricky peeling out of the pits just ahead of Fisi, but Fisi actually saving some of his curves, so he's probably going to stay behind Ricky. Going up Eau Rouge, he does indeed. No side-by-side action just yet, but Fisi's going to probably just get the DRS now. Yes, he does, and he should fly past RickeeyC, which he does, up into 9th place now. SE still fighting down at the bottom, well, the bottom places at the moment, in 11th place in that Caterham, and Fisi deciding to take a little bit of air on Ricky's screen, which is always interesting to see. and Ricky just following behind him at the moment, and Trace slightly losing touch with Noble at the moment, who's still out in front, and it's going to be very crucial for these guys to set some consistently fast lap times if they are going to try a one-stop here this afternoon. As that is SE losing the back end, and that is Randy going through, and he's still caught on the grass. But it's going to be very interesting to find out, because a one-stop was really not on the radar for any of the drivers, but Noble and Trace have decided to stay with each other and carry on, and Trace is benefiting from the DRS at the moment, and we're now cut on board to Matty in 5th place, and he's nowhere near Martin, and Martin is going to have the DRS to Limitless, so these guys are going to be slipstreaming away from Matty, and the lead is looking further and further away, as you can see, just about Limitless in the background, and now cutting back to Trace just behind Noble coming down the Camel Straight.
I have to admit, the one guy that's really impressed me, as you said, is Martin. This is his first AOR F1 race, of course, having graduated from GP2, and he really is driving like he hasn't ever left. He never ever left F1 at all. So this is going to be incredible. It's possibly his prospects to get a drive for next season at least. He's one of the top teams, and certainly one of the top drivers in the league. As we now look at Fisi fan back in 9th place, scrapping away with Ricky, about a 10th of a second gap as they head into Les Comps. So the Red Bull maintaining the gap against the McLaren. And Ricky, a little bit surprised. Most of the season, he hasn't really been on the same pace which he showed in the Caterham, of course. I'm not sure it's because effectively Spa is not a circuit that he is particularly fond of, whether or not he's possibly not had a chance to practice as much as he usually does for most races. But Ricky back down in 10th, not having the same kind of pace as we usually see him, because last year we saw him plenty of times up there in the Caterham, putting it in places where it really shouldn't have been, and putting up there for potentially getting himself into line for a top 5 or a podium, or even potentially maybe even a win. As we look at Trace 92 in 2nd place and look at the state of his tyres, his fronts are red raw, and I'm surprised they've lasted that long. But then again, you could say the same about Noble, who is still in the lead. We're now on board with Contadins, the Italian stallion, in the Sauber, with a Ferrari-powered Sauber, I should say, so it's quite fitting. But he's got Minty swarming around him as Noble dives into the pits finally, and duly followed by Trace. So this is going to be effectively a battle for, 2nd place by the time these guys go past. And Minty's got through on Contadins and is now straight away onto the back of the Williams as Red Bull go to it. You can see the brakes glowing red on the rear of Traceby's car, and Noble exits his pit box, and Limitless goes past. And Limitless has now inherited the lead for Toro Rosso, and as they both exit together, there is Fisi, and there's also Ricky as well. So the two of them have gone past now. So Ricky's got through also, so that means now Noble's down to 9th. That's exactly the place he doesn't want to be. He does now clear traffic in front of him. He's got 2 cars battling away, and that's certainly going to halt his progress in this second stint. And I'm wondering possibly on these harder tyres, because he went longer, if both he and Tracy are going to go onto a one-stop. But you can see Noble not wasting any time, using a bit of a draft from Ricky in front to try and pull alongside on Fisi. Couldn't get the move done. Fisi had the inside line. But now this is all crucial for Noble. He has to dispatch these 2 cars, and quick, because if not, he's going to lose lots of crucial time to Limitless in front. And I'm pretty sure that he and Tracy are the only guys that possibly are going to be on a one-stop strategy. The rest will have to stop again, and they'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But Limitless has to use this time now in front to try and get as many clear laps as he can to try and extend that gap. So by the time he does pit, there's more of a chance he'll be out in front of this man here, Noble, as he continues to scrap away with Fisi and Ricky.
Yeah, it's not ideal as well for Noble, as he's looking up the inside now of Fisi. Not particularly an overtaking spot, these 2 corners, but Noble still having a look, but unfortunately still not ahead of Fisi. And these are crucial times, as you say, Scott, because Noble really doesn't want to be getting caught behind him. And as I say that, Fisi goes into the gravel, and Noble up into 8th place now. And it's not going to be helping his tyres either, is Noble following other dirty air is going to really be affecting his front grip and also the wear on his tyres, as Minty is now looking up the inside of Matty down towards the bus stop chicane. Are they going to go side by side? Matty locking his brakes and having to take to the, I guess the runoff of the inside of that corner, getting a warning for corner cutting, but really not gaining anything as he lets Minty through. And Minty up into a podium spot, which is absolutely fantastic for him, as Fisi has now lost another place to Trace and is down in 10th place at the moment. And he's obviously on a different strategy to Trace and Noble. And Trace really driving well at the moment, you have to say, following the guy who's won 4 championships and well and truly staying with him. Trace not usually one of the people to be finishing consistently on the podium, but he's very well and truly looking at a podium if he can continue the driving that he is showing at the moment. And this is Matty with the DRS going to the outside of Minty. Can he make this one stick? Yes, he can. Round the outside once again for Matty. but really the slipstream is affecting Matty's race quite a bit because the cars behind are managing to stay with him. He can't focus on catching the cars in front, and Martin and Limitless are just getting away with the fact that, well, Limitless has got completely clean air and can really concentrate on smashing in those laps. And, you know, Limitless has come very close to winning races in what was called the ARL League and now the AOR League. But I think that it's, you know, I think Limitless is looking good to at least go for this victory here this afternoon, Scott.
I remember the couple of times last season, of course, Limitless was leading, and unfortunately had some issues with his wheel or just disconnections and just went straight into the wall. I think one occasion was actually Sepang when he threw it into the wall after just a few laps, and he had a really comfortable lead, and all of a sudden it fell to pieces. So you really will want to get this first victory. Of course, he's tried so hard when he was racing last year for Sauber. Now he's in the car that won the championship last year, but of course the main catalyst in that factor is, of course, that both the drivers that were in the Toro Rosso have jumped to the Williams, and now that car's the fastest in the field. So Limitless certainly showing his pace in a car which, of course, even though they are fairly equal online, of course, as we are racing on F1 2013, he's definitely shown that the Toro Rosso is still a front-running car, and he can haul it up into a race-leading position. As Noble now sweeps around the outside Mazy as if he wasn't there, and Matty's still having to fight for Minty as he goes to the outside and pulls off almost a carbon copy of the move that Matty made on him a lap ago at the same spot at Les Combes. So Matty probably getting a little frustrated as Minty then runs deep on the exit, and this allows Matty back up the inside, and through he goes into third place. So these two, the more that Matty spends time fighting with Minty, the less chance he'll have from catching the two guys in front, especially Martin and Limitless. We've got a replay here of Traceby going to the outside of Ricky, and this is Ricky's view of the Red Bull sailing past into 8th with the help of DRS, and straight away gets under attack from the other Red Bull of Fisi fan. Ricky tried to break a little bit later around the outside, and it worked for the most part, but ultimately has to back out and give the place to the Norwegian. So both the Red Bulls charging up towards the front of the field, or at least through the midfield at least. Now back on board with Ricky. He wants a bit of revenge to try and repass Fisi fan at least up towards P1, a very tight corner, and Fisi having to dart back in at the last second behind Ricky. Ran a little too wide on the exit of the curb, and you see here that Fisi is really staying close with the McLaren as they head through the Fagner chicane. Now with Contadins, he's now up to a superb 5th position in the Sauber. Another guy who's really outdriving what he's been able to show before in the past couple of seasons. As we again to go to Matty, as these two once again fighting. Oh, a little bit of a lag spike there from Minty. A lot of lag, in fact. He lags twice. Bit of contact as well. And Minty's managed to keep in front. So again, Matty, for the second time, having to deal with cars that have a lots of lag around them, as Fisi and Ricky are still fighting. So we've got two separate battles that have been ongoing for a couple of laps, and they don't show any signs of slowing down. As Matty again gets a better run off the bus stop as they come across the stripe to start lap 12. Matty now again will get a line and sweeps across in the braking zone to hold on to 3rd position. So 3rd, 4th and 5th all together. Matty in the Williams, Minty in the Toro Rosso, and Contadins in the Sauber. But of course it's known that both Minty and Contadins do have a little bit of issue with lag, so of course Matty's going to have to be extra cautious with both of them. He's already experienced it both individually, but if they're both around him, that could possibly be one potential nightmare waiting to happen. As again Ricky gets a run on Fisi to the outside, and they repass each other again. Ricky making the move down the Kemble Straight with the aid of DRS. So these two battles going at it hammer and tongs, and as we said, don't show any signs of slowing down. But of course, the harder they fight each other, the easier it's going to be for the cars around them to make a break. As we've said, seen so many times. As we now go back to Noble, and he's fighting it out with Constant, so it's now a 4-way scrap for 3rd place. Matty in some serious trouble trying to break away from these three.
Yeah, as I've mentioned before, I mean, the slipstream around this track is so powerful that the cars can just stay within a second so easily, and if they drop to 8-9 tenths behind, they can still catch a slipstream from the car ahead. Contadins doesn't look like he's catching one, but it looks like Noble is, and Noble's going to have a look to the outside of Contadins. There he goes, and straight past the Sauber driver, but Noble understeering through Blanchimont and then losing the position to Contadins. These are crucial laps for Noble as Matty looks up here, and he's going to have to go straight through again, and he's been given a penalty this time. So he's been given a penalty for locking up and going over the chicane, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get that taken off, because corner cutting is seen as something that, you know, isn't really removable, because you can't prove that it was just those couple of occasions. On Matty's part it was, but I don't think the stewards will be looking at that very kindly. So Matty His race is going from what was quite good and leading at one point to absolutely terrible, and it's going to put him well behind all of these guys after 10 seconds being applied to his race time. But he's still going to race on, as it looks like we could even have 3 abreast going down the Kemmel Straight. We have Noble following all 3 of these cars in 6th place, but it doesn't look like anyone. It looks like all of them are maxing out, and Minty can't get alongside, or can he, of Contadins. They're side by side, slight wheel banging. Contadins having to actually concede the position to Minty. Minty cutting the corner slightly, which is not what we like to see, but he's got up into 4th place, and Contadins having to settle for 5th. But Contadins really having a great race at the moment and showing some brilliant pace here round Spa, as we now have a replay of Trace having to go past Mazy with Noble a long way down the road now, because Trace having a couple of mistakes, having a few trips to the gravel, and also getting caught up behind some slower cars means that he's lost the DRS and the slipstream, which he was really benefiting from Noble. But he's still looking for a good solid result, as Noble is still getting held up by these 3 cars ahead, Contadins especially in the Sauber, and he's trying to get the undercut here. He's got on the power a lot earlier than Contadins. Contadins going wide. Can he have a look round this right-hander? I don't think he can. But here we go, we're going to come towards Blanchimont in a minute, and I'm assuming that is where he is going to try and make his move, as Matty loses his position again to Minty through just the use of slipstream, and Noble's flown past Contadins already, and here is Trace. So Trace has now caught back up to Noble with all of this fighting going on, as Limitless peels into the pits, and I wouldn't be surprised if Martin does too, and it looked like he does as we now come down towards the bus stop chicane. Trace just about managing to stop the car, almost wiping Noble out, and that would have been tragic for Noble's race, as Minty now goes back past Matty once again, and Noble, Matty's teammate, is right behind, as here we are, the Toro Rosso team going on to another set of prime tyres for the next 8 laps. So, and here is Fisi as well in the pits, and another Sauber, the Contadins. These guys liking to go for the undercut and then suffering maybe towards the end of the race, but it seems like it's working, and people like Matty and Minty really haven't caught on to that strategy, because they've carried on, and if the first stint's anything to go by, Scott, then they're going to lose a lot of time by the end of this lap.
I'll tell you what's also incredible, look at that, the fact that Matty managed to pull alongside Minty without the use of DRS, even though he had it available to him. And Limitless is gone. We've lost Limitless. TRL Limitless is out, and so is Fisi, so we've lost 2 cars.
We've only lost Fisi, Scott, we've only lost Fisi.
We've only lost Fisi, so Limitless has had some kind of a problem, but he's carrying on. But we've lost Fisi, so unfortunately connection problems for Fisi. He's out of the race after what was a fantastic run. He was down in somewhere about 9th or 10th, so not as well as possibly he could have been, but nonetheless a valiant effort for the Red Bull driver. But of course now honours are left for the boys from Milton Keynes, are now all on Trace B92. There's Limitless. I thought he disconnected because it did sound on the screen, but obviously a small glitch in the system, so he's back down in 6th after his pit stop, as Matty almost loses it onto the gravel, and that allows Trace B through to what was 3rd place anyway. But then Trace B loses it onto the gravel. That's incredible. So as soon as one guy makes a mistake, the other goes off in sympathy. So Trace B gets going again, and looks like he'll lose 4th to RickeeyC, which he does, and Limitless follows him straight through, and that could be even 2 places that Limitless could make up if he can get around Ricky as quick as possible. But now Noble looking to the outside of Minty for the race lead, but this Toro Rosso really is not going to give it up easy. Minty with some fantastic defensive driving, but it's all in vain because he peels off to the right to take a second set of tyres, and Matty, of course, with that penalty hanging over his head, is going to be in for a second set of tyres also. So this is now a battle between Ricky, Limitless and Trace Me, and they're now battling over what is going to be a podium place, as Matty comes in for a second set of tyres and just has to try and soldier on, see exactly what kind of points he can muster up. He's going to go on to a set of option tyres. He's going to throw the dice and see what he can do on the softer compound tyres. This is going to be the medium set on the options, as Limitless going side by side with Ricky through Eau Rouge. A daring move if ever I saw one, and Limitless manages to get through. Here comes Traceman to the outside, going to try and make a move now to get himself onto the podium. Runs side by side with the aided DRS, some 204 miles an hour, as now Ricky's topping out at 199 without the aided DRS, so 5 mile an hour difference without the use of the rear wing open. Minty getting past on his fresh tyres, and SE Racing Team, and Randy's trying to follow him through, and Matty now back in 11th place, but of course that he may sink down a little bit lower, but again few guys have yet to make their second stops, and Matty now battling hard with Mazy, looking to go to the inside of this right-hander. It's a long 180 degree corner running onto the curb all the way around, and Matty gets the job done into 10th. So as we said, he's going to be pushed down the order no matter where he finishes, so effectively he's trying to, this is more like a well-publicised test, so just trying to, more like a damage limitation exercise for the rest of the remaining 7 laps. But of course he's going to try and get himself as high as he can on these softer option tyres, and now he's battling away with Contadins and also SE Racing, who is up to the dizzying heights of 8th in the Caterham. But, of course, rather unfortunate for Matty, he's in the championship fight, and of course this is certainly going to give the advantage back to Noble, as he's now trying to get through. But of course, getting stuck behind these guys once again is not going to do him any favours. It's a 4-car scrap. We've had battles all the way down the field throughout the entire race here at Spa. It's been a fantastic spectacle, and as it looks right now, Matty doesn't show any signs of slowing down with 7 laps to go.
It doesn't at all. Spa just promotes such great racing. They're so close, and Matty has got to the back of Contadins. As I've said, that there's such great racing, and Matty unfortunately is going to have to let Contadins back through, which he does. It gives him a little bit of a nudge and says, "Hurry up! I didn't mean to hit you. Carry on." And he's now coming, just slotting in behind Contadins and going down to the braking point. And then, who's that? That's SE Racing Team on the outside. And now SE's hit Matty. Matty has then hit Contadins. And, okay, it's been good racing up until now. And there's been slight, well, I'm not too sure if it's frustration or what on those 3 drivers' parts. Well, not really Contadins. He was kind of just the victim there. But it looked like Matty wasn't given any indicator arrows whatsoever as to where SE was, and SE's just dived around the outside, and just there's been contact, and then SE's hit Matty, which has then gone into Contadins. So unfortunately for Contadins, who'd been having a very good race, his race has been slightly hindered after that incident, but we'll see where he can end up by the end of the race. And here's a replay. This is what SE saw on his screen, but I think we just saw on Matt's point of view that it was slightly different on his, because there was just you just can't see. Here we go. Here's a replay of Matt. There's no indicator arrows whatsoever. And then there's SE just, well, from his angle, it looks like he's just going around the outside. So what's your sort of point of view on that, Scott?
Well, it's intriguing because if you look in the left-hand mirror, both Matty and also the Contadins, you can see the SE Racing Team is there. But then, to be fair, these guys rely more on the indicators on the left and right for their blind spots rather than using their mirrors. And I'm not saying that they don't use their mirrors at all, but of course when you've got a car around you, you tend to kind of use the indicator to see exactly where they are, because that's what it's there for. So, I mean, Matty had the outside line. I think SE was a bit too opportunistic, if I'm being honest, trying to move to the outside when there really wasn't that much room, and Matty made it clear that there wasn't. So, I don't know, maybe SE just got panicked a little bit, got onto the brakes, and of course it was a bit of an accordion effect, because then he got into the back of Matty then hit the back of Contadins, and it all went wrong from there. So we had a couple of cars pitting whilst we've been talking about that incident. Ricky's now exiting back in 9th place ahead of his teammate Randy. And now we're on board with Contadins trying to make up for lost time after the incident. Chasing after Matty, he's going to be in the standard mix 2. Now he's in the draft to save a bit of fuel. DRS is now open. Look at the speed he's carrying, 332 Ks down the back straight compared to 196 miles an hour for Matty. So of course over 200 for the Sauber. Contadins getting the move done to go up into 7th place. But yeah, back to the incident, it was quite an intriguing one. It's I think possibly SE's Racing would kind of almost brought that one on himself a little bit. Then again, Matty could see him in his left-hand mirror, so of course, maybe it was 50-50. I'm not saying, maybe looking back at it, that there was kind of parts played by both, but I think for the most part, it was SE trying to go for a bit of a gap on the outside that there really wasn't, when Matty had the track position. But watching there, Matty trying to hold on with Contadins as he almost moves across, I think Contadins suffering from a bit of lag. You saw Matty's car floating around a little bit, and he's going to go to the outside. This time, Matty making sure he has plenty of room. And Ricky's going to watch on with these two as Contadins leaves the door open. And Ricky takes the opportunity and says, "Thank you very much, Contadins. Just trying to settle up the inside of you." But Contadins had a better exit, and he'll hold on, despite the fact that Ricky has got the softer compound tyre, which means he should have had better traction than the Sauber. But now he's got the run through Aarava, staying in the draft. And of course, he will get the aid of DRS as it opens up now, using Kurz as well. But his car's absolutely topping out at 199. He can't get it any higher. As now, Matty tried to stick it around the outside again. An awesome scrap once again happened between these three over 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, I should say. But of course, up at the front, I'm pretty sure that Noble's running away with it, as we usually see him do. But I have to admit, one of the guys that really has impressed me is TRL Martin in the Ferrari. He's up in 3rd place, if I'm correct. Yes, there he is. So Noble leading with Limitless 2nd and Martin 3rd. What a fantastic drive on his first ever AOR F1 race. Like I said earlier on, it's almost as if he's never actually been in GP2. He's always been in F1, and a great drive so far. And certainly Ferrari will be happy. He's hauling them back up towards the front. 3rd place, they're going to be absolutely ecstatic with that kind of podium. And I'm pretty sure that if he can keep it there for the rest of the field, the rest of the race and the rest of the championship, it'll certainly do their teams and constructors championship chances no end of good.
I tell you what, Scott, it's not over by any stretch of the imagination. Remember, Noble is on a one-stop strategy. His tyres are going off. We've got 2 laps to go, excluding this one, which means Limitless has got a very good opportunity of taking Noble, with Martin also within striking distance as well. Limitless is on a much fresher set of tyres on those primes. Matty is struggling, as you can see on those options. He's trying to get it round the corner and he just can't. It was a very silly decision from him to put on the option tyres. Ricky goes through and so does Contadins. Doesn't really matter as he has a penalty anyway. And here comes Limitless for the lead. We have it. He has DRS. Minty unfortunately has lost connection. And here we go. Limitless is well and truly in the fight for his first ever victory. And I'm sure the adrenaline is pumping around his body and he is ready. He has been very, very quick in practice and he has shown this throughout the entire race and being up the front that he is ready to take the fight to Noble, which he is. Noble, sorry, on an unpreferred strategy. It's not paid off for him at the moment because Noble is just absolutely struggling with understeer, oversteer, the works, because Noble has been caught by Limitless at a right rate of knots. I mean, I think it was around 7 seconds about 5 laps ago. So here we go, Limitless looking to the outside. They're side by side down towards this right-hander under the DHL sign. Limitless round the outside. He takes the lead from Noble, and this is very crucial. Oh, well, it won't be so crucial for Noble, who's out in front in the championship, but for Limitless, he has taken the lead and he is on his way to a maiden victory. Can Noble get back in the slipstream? It just has no traction in that, Williams, and he is down to second place, and I'm sure Martin is going to be wanting a bit of that as well, and to maybe get a 1-2 for the, I guess, TRL boys, let's put it that way. But Noble, he's in the slipstream, so he is staying just about in touching distance of Limitless, but he's just so tentative on the brakes and turning in as well. You can just sense the understeer, because I mean the difference between his car and Limitless is just amazing with the fact that the grip, I'm sure if we actually had a look at the tyre wear indicators, they would be red as anything, red raw, just as Trace's was for his option tyres on the first stint. Trace still running very strong in 4th place, as you can see, 6.3 seconds behind Martin. Noble a sitting duck, it looks like, as Limitless is pulling out his lead. Can Noble get DRS? It's going to be very crucial. He's used all of his KERS already, so he has nothing to defend in the last sector. He's put it down to standard as well. He does get DRS, which is crucial for him to try and defend from Martin, who isn't actually that close at the moment, but the degradation on the tyres, I'm sure he will be hitting the cliff very shortly. He's doing very well to even stay anywhere near Limitless, but he's gone wide and just about clips the gravel, but gets away with it. And Limitless, with 1 lap to go, Scott, well, what can you say about the guy? It looks like he's finally going to do it after coming so close.
And what's incredible, look behind, if Martin gets a chance to get past, he will. He may even get up the inside down towards poor Tyrone Martin, the debutant, in the Ferrari. He's up the inside and he's through. Tyrone Martin, incredibly, in his first ever AOR F1 race, could be looking at 2nd place on the rostrum. Incredible drive from the Brit in the Ferrari. This is absolutely sensational. And now Noble staring at possibly 3rd place, and he has no response. Look at the rate that Martin's pulling away. This is just unbelievable. Now, I'm pretty sure that Martin is not running hard enough to be able to catch up with Limitless, because of course Limitless has much fresher tyres, and I'm sure he will be on his way to, as we said, take his first ever AOR victory. I guess also the first victory ever in the life of it being called AOR, of course, so he gets the honour of being the first AOR victor. But Noble having to settle for 3rd, and I'm pretty sure that Tracy has no response. He's some 5 seconds back already, so he might not be able to do anything at this point, but 4th place he'd still be very content with indeed for Red Bull. But as we head on to the final lap, Limitless is only 1 more tour away of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit and taking his maiden victory in this league. And Martin, of course, what an impact he's made. 2nd place in the Ferrari, just has to keep it on the track again to kick off his life in the F1 League in the best possible way. Of course, even better would be a victory, but of course, I'm sure he'll be absolutely overjoyed if he can keep it there. But here's the man of the moment, as we now watch Ricky. He's closing in on Mazy potentially to get himself into the top 5 for McLaren, and Matty's 3.5 seconds back in 7th. A rather disappointing race after his podium, and of course 7th place he'll be on the road at least, but of course his penalty will drop him back down the order even further, so there's a chance possibly, if he's not careful and if the cars around him are close enough, he may even drop outside of the top 10, if not just on the fringes. So Matty may only come away with this with just 1 point, and he's coming under attack now from the Contadins, as he has been for most of the race down in the bottom end of the field, and Contadins drafting past with the aid of DRS. So Matty once again falling backwards and may fall into the clutches of Randy if he's not too careful, but I don't think Randy's that close. But he's 3.9 seconds away, so we'll have to wait and see. As Ricky now is on the back of Macy to possibly change positions once again on the final lap and runs a little too wide. But you have to say, what a performance from Limitless. He's tried so many times and looks as though he's almost just coming out of Stavolo, as you can see on the mini-map. He's heading up now towards Blanchimont and the final couple of corners. And get ready, Matty, we're about to crown ourselves a brand new ARL winner in just a few corners' time.
We are going to crown a new AOR winner, but yes, Limitless, you know, he's driven absolutely brilliantly. He stayed with the front pack the entire time. And here we go, round the bus stop chicane for the final time. Limitless is going to take his first ever victory in the AOR League. And it's just brilliant. There you go, over the line, and I'm sure he'll be chuffed to bits with that performance. He's going to take 25 points away from Spa. Matty, his main rival in the championship at the moment, coming home with, I don't know, maybe a handful, if that. But here we go, Ricky and Mazy fighting through to bus stop chicane for the final, well, for 5th and 6th place. Who's that ahead as well? I think that's Trace, who's made a massive mistake into the bus stop chicane, but Ricky comes home in 5th, Mazy in 6th. And Matty coming home in a lowly 8th position, and with a 10-second penalty, probably down into 9th. And here we go, we're going to have a replay, and this is the race-winning moment for Limitless. He gets a much better exit off Puon, and with Noble, with his just destroyed tyres, just can't defend, and Limitless just clean goes round the outside of him, up into 1st position, and taking his first ever victory. And I'm sure, looking back at this, he will be very, very happy. So Limitless finally breaks that maiden victory that he was looking for almost 2 seasons, or is it 3 seasons? I don't know how long he's been there, but it seems like a long time. He's come so close. What, at Silverstone, almost, I think, about half a second he was behind, and with the US Grand Prix last season as well. And given a penalty by the stewards. And this is the replay from Trace. He's locked up into the bus stop chicane and almost lost his front wing on the barrier, and that would have easily lost him 4th place, and I'm sure he would have been absolutely livid had that happened. And this is Ricky going up the inside on the final lap up into the bus stop chicane. Great move from him on option tyres as well, so he made the option tyres work, and almost catching Trace as well at the end there. I'm sure he would have been, the luck of the gods would have been on his side if he'd have got 4th as well. But TRL Limitless takes the victory for the Toro Rosso team. The first one for a very long time. I'm pretty sure, I'm hearing in my ear, there's been at least, I think, about 25 or 30 race streak that Noble and Matty have shared in this league. But it's finally been broken by TRL Limitless, with Martin an excellent 2nd place, 2 seconds behind the leader. Noble still finishing on the podium despite a very different strategy. Trace just about coming home in 4th after that mistake. RickeeyC a very solid 5th place after being very, low down the field, I think, at the start of the race. Mazy CZ also a strong performance from him in 6th. Contadins probably what could have been for him in 7th. Randy Musgrandi being promoted to 8th after Matty having that penalty added on and finishing in a very lowly 9th place. Jason 97 F1 rounding up the top 10 and the points finishers, with SE Racing Team the only one to not score a point who finished, with TRL Minty and Fisi Fan not finishing unfortunately. Fisi disconnecting, also Minty did as well. And the 3 non-starters was Callum, Big Shot and Macaulay. But I'm pretty sure that is a contender, Scott, of one of the best races this season. I'd like to know your opinions.
I couldn't disagree with that. Of course, Limitless a very deserving winner. I know we've waxed lyrical about him almost the entire race, but Tyrrell Martin certainly has put himself in the shop window as a potential championship contender for next year at least. I'm sure whatever impact he can make for the remaining races in Season 7 is going to be quite significant. And if these guys are able to try and find a chink in the armour for Williams, they have certainly exploited it here at Spa, and possibly may have found something that they could effectively take advantage of in the next few races. But you can see in the Drivers' Championship, Limitless now up to 2nd thanks to Matty's troubles today. And Ricky's now in 3rd. The biggest mover also, of course, we've got moving up is Trace Me as well, and also Mazy, and Martin straight away getting there straight in 12th place with 18 points. And that's now pushed Minty down to 13th, just on level points with Martin now, with Jason, AOR X, Callum and SE Racing Team in the drop zone for relegation. But it's going to be quite fast and frantic, especially with the fact we've got a huge battle for 2nd going on, and the midfield also for 6th and 7th between Macaulay and Fisi Fan. So, and also for Trace Me, Big Shot 2 points away as well. So lots of battles going on up and down the Drivers' Championship, and I'm pretty sure the Teams' Championship is just as close. I can move on to it possibly in a second, but I think Noble at least has managed to at least consolidate his lead in the championship. He's only now 69 points ahead, but of course Limitless will try and take every advantage he can if he can get it in the next few races, starting of course with the next round at Monza.
Course, yeah, and having a look at the Constructors' Championship now, Williams obviously looking very strong still with 316 points. Toro Rosso and McLaren going very close indeed, 4 points separating points. Ferrari and Caterham, there's only 3 points separating those, with Sauber only a point behind as well. So 5th, 6th and 7th, 4 points separating those 3, with Force India not looking particularly strong in 8th position with a lowly 20 points. So Williams dominating this so far, and it doesn't look like it's going to change that much, but with a new winner with Toro Rosso and Ferrari with Martin, it could all change. So the next race, which you guys are going to be joining us for, is the Italian Grand Prix, round 10, round Monza. I'm sure that is going to promote a lot of overtaking and a lot of great action with the DRS straights and just it generally being a very easy track, I'd say. A lot of drivers like it, and Scott, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Absolutely, same here. A fantastic track. Again, one of Rod Racing's classics. Incredibly high speed. It's going to put a lot of strain on brakes and tyres and gearboxes. So it's going to be, and also, of course, engines being flat out. It's over 200 miles an hour. It's an incredible circuit. Some long, fast corners with some very tight chicanes. Going to be some absolutely incredible racing. I can't wait for it. And of course, with these brand new drivers stepping up to take the fight to Williams, it's going to make the last half of the season a fantastic spectacle to watch.
That's great. Thank you very much, Scott, for joining me, and we'll see you next week for the Italian Grand Prix. Bye-bye.